Acharya, Sushmita Mahapatra, ET Now, Mumbai.
Okay, in other news now, Essar has approached the Reserve Bank of India seeking its nod to sell an 11% stake to Vodafone in the joint venture Vodafone Essar for $1.2 billion. That's according to a PTI report. Essar had earlier claimed that the fair value of the 11% stake was $500 million higher at $1.7 billion.
Now, the Wire agency's report states that Essar has submitted applications together with the discounted cash flow valuation, which is a method of valuation where the future expected cash flows and profits of a company are taken into account while valuing the enterprise. The valuation in this case was done by Standard Chartered Bank and JM Financial. Okay, in other news, Environment Minister Jairam Ramesh has put on hold the forest clearance for POSCO's project complex that is pending assurances from the Orissa government. We're chatting with ET Now's Suchetna Ray, who's joining us live from our New Delhi newsroom. Well, Suchetna, POSCO has gone on the record and said that it hasn't received any sort of a notification, but tell us what the possible impact could be.
This is definitely a major setback for POSCO, if I may say, yet another setback for POSCO, because now the forest clearance, which is still pending from Jairam Ramesh's ministry, will take longer than it should have taken, because we have to remember here that yesterday the state government of Orissa submitted its assurance to the Green Ministry, saying that in the site where POSCO is to develop its steel plant and its captive port, there are no existence of tribal dwellers. However, Jairam Ramesh today has written back to the state government of Orissa, slamming the report, saying the two villages of Dhinkia and Govindapur, both falling in the site where POSCO will develop its steel plant, were not even considered when the public hearings took place. Now we have to get into the procedure really. Public hearings of all the villages from where land will be acquired for the steel plant had to take place to make sure no existence of tribal dwellers, and Jairam Ramesh feels that two villages were completely ignored in this entire process. Now Jairam Ramesh, as a source of his information, cites the POSCO Pratirod Sangram Committee, a committee which is actively working to make sure that POSCO's plant does not come up in Orissa, and its 52,000 crore dream in Orissa is not realized. Now Jairam Ramesh has written in the letter that he will only consider forest clearance once these two villages are considered and public hearings have taken place in these two villages.
Okay, Suchetna Ray, thanks very much for bringing us the details on that development. We'll take a very quick break on Business First, but coming up, the BRICS group of emerging market powers take a dig at the US dollar.
Well, they've called for a revamp of the global monetary system that relies less on the greenback. We'll get you that story when we're back.
This show brought to you by IIFL. Knowledge is the edge. Widest range of designer 5-star ACs.
Regulation and technological changes are posing challenges for telecom companies.
Customer is savvy enough to understand what these technologies are and what benefits it can give to them, and that's the real challenge today.
The Economic Times Knowledge Forum, in association with Global Group, presents Managing Network Complexity, Delivering Customer Delight, a panel discussion on emerging ideas and opportunities for the telecom sector. Only on ET Now.
Brought to you by Global. Endless possibilities.
Land Cruiser, the pride of the world. Prado, all-terrain luxury. Fortuner, the art of power. The Toyota range of SUVs, the crux of power.
Okay, this is Business First. Now, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, the BRICS group of economies, have signed an agreement to use their own currencies instead of the US dollar in issuing credit or grants to each other.
But Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said that the summit was successful and that the next BRICS summit would be held in India.
We've had very fruitful discussions at this summit. We have reviewed the international situation, discussed international economic, financial and trade issues, the challenges of sustainable development, food security, energy security and climate change. We have adopted the Sanya Declaration and agreed upon an action plan to deepen and broaden cooperation among our countries.
All right, some international news then, and in what is the most damning official US report yet produced on Wall Street's role in the financial crisis, a Senate panel has accused Goldman Sachs of misleading clients and manipulating markets. The report alleges that Goldman Sachs sold poor quality mortgage securities it had actually bet against. The Senate is now pushing the Justice Department to investigate Goldman CEO Lloyd Blankfein's testimony before Congress.
Well, Goldman Sachs has reacted, saying that they have disagreed with the conclusions of this report. Carl Lewin, chairman of the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, has a history with Goldman Sachs. He clashed publicly with its chief executive, that is Blankfein, a year ago at a hearing on the crisis. Meanwhile, Google will announce its first quarter results tomorrow, and analysts expect decent but not so spectacular numbers from the company. However, all eyes and ears will be on Google's co-founder and new CEO Larry Page. Innovation, capacity ramp-up and dodging regulatory hurdles will really be on top of his agenda.
It's been a little over a week since the end of adult supervision at Silicon Valley giant Google. Co-founder Larry Page is back in the driver's seat, taking over the role of CEO from Eric Schmidt, who ran the company for 10 years. The younger and less experienced Page has been busy. Over the past week, the company announced its bid to buy up Nortel Patents, giving it a leg up in the wireless space. It also introduced YouTube live streaming video, propelling it one step closer to a full-blown network. And it managed to win regulatory approval for its merger with travel software company ITA.
I think he's spending a lot of his time trying to essentially establish what things are worth pursuing and what things are worth concluding. That's a really big job at Google and a really important one.
Page's strength lies in innovation. His weakness? He doesn't like being in the public eye, but all eyes will be on him when the company announces its earnings on Thursday. Investors will be looking for clues on Page's vision for the company, including how it plans on tackling social networking. Investors will also be looking at how Google plans on growing their search advertising business and whether it expects more spending on hiring.
Google has been mum on whether Page will participate in the earnings call. It could be in his best interest. Ever since announcing he would take over as CEO, the stock has plummeted 9%. An appearance by the new face of the company could help boost investor sentiment. I'm Reuters reporter Karina Huber for ET Now in New York.
All right, let's get you some cricket action and on to the Indian Premier League, where there is only one match being played today. Hyderabad's Deccan Chargers are up against the Royal Challengers of Bangalore. We have Mrinalini Krishna standing by to tell us about the match.
Well, that's right. Deccan Chargers are batting first. 26 for 1 is what they stand currently. Royal Challengers Bangalore won the toss and elected to bowl first. Zahir Khan drew first blood, getting Shikhar Dhawan out for 11. Daniel Vittori opted to bat because he feels the pitch is dry and hard, lots of runs, but a little bit of grass means there's something in it for the Pacers. A lot of rejig in the teams there. 3 changes for Royal Challengers Bangalore, 2 for Deccan Chargers. The important ones, RCB, Dirk Nannes being replaced by Johan van der Waart. He got belted in his first over though. And Maninder Goni replacing Pragyan Oja for the Deccan Chargers. If you look at the batting lineup, Deccan Chargers look pretty strong. Even though Shikhar Dhawan is back in the pavilion, there's still established names like Sangakkara coming in. And lower down the order, JP Duminy and Dale Steyn can throw in their bats and get in some runs. Though they're capable of getting a big score, Royal Challengers do have a good batting side, and it'll be an exciting match to watch out for.
All right, Mrinalini, thanks for that update. To football then, where millions around the world wait for the day when Spanish giants Real Madrid and Barcelona go head-to-head. The match, more famously known as the El Clasico, normally happening just about twice a year. Football lovers will now have the chance to witness the spectacle 4 times in just 18 days.
Well, the Spanish giants will kick off the first of the 4 encounters at the Santiago Bernabeu this Saturday, followed by the final in the King's Cup. All this culminating with 2 rounds in the semi-finals of the Champions League on the 27th 27th at the Bernabeu and the 3rd of May at the Nou Camp.
Switch to ET Now. Have you? Open your trading day with technical calls from market wizards who have made money for millions of investors. And as markets close, let Ashwini Gujral and Sudarshan Sukhani show you winning stock picks for the markets tomorrow. Only on ET Now.
चलो बच्चों, एक फाइनल रिहर्सल और फिर निशा वाली माधुरी से तो आप बहुत बार मिले होंगे। आज मिलिए नीसा वाली माधुरी से, यानी रियल लाइफ माधुरी से। नीसा बासमती राइस, प्योर एंड ट्रेडिशनल, a bit of God in every grain.
Hettich Fittings make furniture work beautifully. Hettich Fittings, German quality you can trust.
बेस्ट होने के लिए बेस्ट बनना पड़ता है, लड़ना पड़ता है, जीतना पड़ता है, तब जाके बनता है the best.
We have our homes at Amrapali because Amrapali is the best and you deserve the best.
आपका घर बनाते हैं Amrapali Group, Developing India.
रोशनी है CG, उन्नति है CG, खुशहाली है CG, राहत है CG, भविष्य है CG. CG में है जिंदगी के हर पहलू का हल, इसलिए तो CG से है जिंदगी.
How do you get cash and the cash hoarding by corporate? And actually that's a challenge equally for policymakers as well, because that's one of the key levers in order to stimulate economic activity.
If we satisfy ourselves with much less reduced GDP growth, it will be easier for us to control price rise from the demand side. If we find that the outcome of this exercise leads to positive result, definitely it would be a new dimension added to our multi-party system. Every institution should function within the parameters prescribed in our written constitution.
First, it makes me meet so many nice people I've met. I've made great friends. I've made you as a friend. I keep it as a hobby. I do not want to take it anywhere.
Neelam Pratap Rudy talks about her fascination for golf on Tea Time with Shaili Chopra. Only on ET Now.
Brought to you by GE, Imagination at Work. Reach beyond with virtualization and cloud services from Net4. Make my trip memories unlimited.
No one market is the best performing year after year. So you can't expect India to always be the best performing. We buy stocks, we don't buy countries. As inflation moves up, people will begin to realize that in order to preserve their wealth, it's got to be in equities, because equities will adjust to inflation.
Hello and welcome to